and Kel.
Welcome back to Match Day Live. Good evening, Manchester City fans around the world. I'm sure you've got a smile on your face like that man there, because it has finished Manchester City 4, Borussia Dortmund 1. Smiles all round, smiles in the studio from myself, Steph and Shaun. And Steph, you just turned to me there just as the full-time whistle went and said, that's a huge result and huge performance. Tell me exactly what you mean by that.
I just think this stage in the Champions League, to try and get that bit closer to automatic qualification for the next round, is really important. And I think in terms of the performance, I think maybe a spell of 10-15 minutes in the second half we lost a bit of control, but I think when you bring in on the likes of CHERKI, Mamouche, it just shows how much strength and depth we have in the squad, but also the performance of Phil Foden was outstanding tonight.
I mean, and you can see Pep there. I mean, he doesn't stop, Shaun, but he'll be so pleased with what he saw. But for the last, I mean, there were 10-15 minutes towards the end, we had to go with a slightly different approach and weather a bit of a Borussia Dortmund storm.
Yes, and this is the brilliance of Pep. He recognised, listen, the game was won at that time, but he's also thinking, let's make sure we can just keep it tight. At that time, he's went 5 at the back, and the players was able to just keep the ball, and then eventually, you know, he was able to go in and score that the next goal. So it was really, I think, from City's point of view, a really good performance, because we're starting to feel like this is more like City. As Steph said, you know, the players are really comfortable now and really performing well.
And Shaun, it came against a team that Alistair Mann pointed out in commentary. They're unbeaten in this competition. I think they've only lost maybe 1 game in the league over in Germany, maybe 2 at max. It's a difficult opposition that's come here. So does it also show the levels at which we're playing at now are you know, far superior in past, I mean, especially where we were at 12 months ago? Yeah,
they were no easy team. I mean, when you look at the opening sort of 5 to 7 minutes or so, you thought, okay, hold on here. They're coming here thinking we want to do something. We want to show City what we're about. But we had to just weather that. You know, City had to weather it for a period. But then the midfield started to get into it. The wingers were doing really well, pushing in and probing and asking questions. And then obviously Haaland starts to come into the game and Foden in the pocket. But yeah, they certainly, at the match, young Felix there, he was at City. And I thought he had a decent game there in the midfield, really tidy. But at the same time, you're playing against a City team that's gaining more and more confidence and playing well. Yeah, more confidence, more momentum, and that momentum brings up to 4th in the Champions League standings now. I think Alistair Mann said this time I think we amassed 11 points in this phase of the Champions League last season. We're already at 10. We spoke about before the game, Steph, the importance of getting 3 points tonight, especially with another 3 points potentially when we welcome Bayer Leverkusen to the Etihad. So a great kind of foundation and springboard for us to build on. Yeah, massive, and I think don't underestimate like how important these wins are when you're going into a big league game against Liverpool. And I think if you can keep winning, that mentality is just to keep performing at a really high standard. I think you take it into the next game, and I think for me, I think if we can wrap up this qualification as quick as possible, it gives a chance for more players to potentially get a rest in some of the Champions League games, give more players more opportunities, and ultimately the aim is to always qualify as quick as possible so you can give them players them chances. But honestly, I think the way that we've approached this game has been superb, and I think we've never really ever underestimated an opponent, and that was the same for tonight. Yeah, I mean, and also what backs that up, Steph, actually, is I've got a great stat here that our unbeaten run in the Champions League goes on. We have not lost in the Champions League at home since we played Lyon in 2018. And that win there extends it to 22 home wins in the Champions League. And we speak about trying to get results away from home, but really the important thing is, first and foremost, start in your own backyard. And the Etihad is, I mean, it might not have felt like it last season, but it feels like we're a fortress once again. Well, exactly. It's exactly the word I'm thinking of, fortress. And Pep, we know what Pep's about in terms of wanting to play this beautiful football, creating loads of chances. But there's a steeliness behind that, and that tells you from 2018, that is a long time. And that shows you that he's a determined, manager that wants, he'll probably be aware of that, and he'll want it to continue. And each time that we play at home, he'll be like, right, we want to go on one more and go on one more, and we want to, and eventually win it. But he wants to continue it. And this makes it very difficult when teams come to think they haven't lost since 2018. Makes it very tough. So this is really good from City.
Really is indeed.
Yeah.
Before we bring you and dig into the action of that second half, let's head to the Etihad Stadium. My man FG is there. He's alongside Andy Morrison. Let's get their thoughts. I'm sure they're absolutely buzzing with smiles on their faces.
OK, Manchester City, fourth in the UCL League phase. Joining me pitchside, of course, the legend himself, Andy Morrison. Now, Andy, first things first, this Manchester City side seems to be showing a lot more ruthlessness in front of goal, but also calmness in defence as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were just saying with Ali then, it wasn't 15, 20 chances, probably 8 or 9, 4 goals, you know, almost a 50% success rate, so brilliant. And also solid. I really enjoyed going to a 5 at the end, just to nullify when they got on top.
An interesting one for you as well. In the Bournemouth game and tonight, Manchester City had less possession than their opponents. Do you think this side is adapting differently to circumstances? We saw it last year, and I hate to bring it up. I'm thinking of the Feyenoord game at that scoreline. The game just went away from us when we conceded a couple of goals.
Yeah.
This group of players behind us showing a lot better game management, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the manager spotted it at 3-1. They began to get on top a little bit, FG, and then we went to a 5. We went man for man in midfield, and we stopped their overloads that they created. And brilliant from the manager and his backroom staff.
Brilliant indeed, and absolutely brilliant from one of our own, Phil Foden. 2 goals for him tonight, and also, of course, this man again, the one that the cameras always follow, Erling Haaland, with once again another goal at the Etihad, and a first goal in Sky Blue at the Etihad for Ryan CHERKI, albeit because of a deflection, but you make your own luck in these situations.
Yeah, but it was the quality. I mean, he touched the ball 3 times with his left foot with a dribble and then got his shot off with the right. Incredibly talented, but really pleased for Phil Foden. We were just talking about, you know, the plaudits that Haaland's rightly getting, but I don't think people are realising just how well Phil Foden's playing this year. He has been magnificent since the start of this season.
And you know what? I hope they clip that up and they put that all over the Man City social as well, because that's the captain speaking there. You're spot on. He's been fantastic.
Yes,
he's got on with his game, and it's so much more than just goals and assists. When he gets the output like we've seen a couple of goals today, everyone will talk about him, but especially this season, something's changed with Phil Foden.
His body language, there's a smile on his face, his attention's in the moment. He's there in every game. You can see it, his first touch. I mean, there's 3 or 4 times he's dribbled the ball and carried it, changed the direction of the game in the second half. People won't see that. I'm seeing just how on top of his game he is at the moment. You know, and for me, he's the best in that position in the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, he's a former player of the year in the Premier League. So, I mean, who would argue with that? Liverpool to come next. It's been a fantastic week so far. 2 wins. I think the last time we played 3 big teams in a week, well, 2 big teams of Manchester United in a week, was Napoli and Arsenal, and then the Manchester derby. Do you expect many changes for that game? Because I remember the last time we had the 3 in a week, there wasn't any changes.
No, what's really important is what we spoke about before the game. Every player knows they're looking at that bench. When they start and they're in the starting team, FG, they know the power on that bench, and they know if they're not at the top of their game, there's a player that will come in and displace them. So everyone, and it's a great position for the manager to be in, because the squad is as strong as it can be. I'm not sure with Rodri whether he'll be back for the weekend, but apart from that, everyone is worried about keeping their shirt, and that is so healthy.
And we have to talk about Donnarumma, of course. I mean, it seems crazy doing so when you win a game 4-1. I mean, there was a moment there where he made 2 sliding tackles, but also in the game there was 2 fantastic saves from him.
Yeah, there was, and it was a really important one, you know, in his near post, where it's just his pure physical presence that's just allowed his shoulder just to come up and go, and then the 2 tackles, I'm not sure. The first one he was 70-30 against. The second one I'm not going to give him because he was favourite for that. But the first tackle, he gets that wrong, but it just shows he's in tune with the game. There was a little bit of miscommunication, but he was still in tune with the game. Got to the ball first and saved what could have been a difficult situation.
And finally, from a defender's point of view, you'd love to have somebody like him. We've been so blessed with amazing goalkeepers, even going back from when, in your days as well, when you had the keepers behind you, but you'd be so confident with a man like him.
Absolutely, and not just that, it's his presence. You know, we're fortunate enough to see the tunnel before, you know, at half-time and before games. He comes out and there's just an aura about him. You know, and he demands respect, and people know that if the ball comes into the box, they know he's coming. And as a defender, I don't care how brave you are, when you know something that size, somebody with that presence is coming over the top of you, you're thinking a little bit about whether you're going to put your head in there.
Yeah, well, I probably wouldn't, but I know one thing, this man definitely would. Andy, been fantastic.
Brilliant.
speaking to you. Thank you so much. And let's head back to the studio. And I'm pretty sure everyone in the studio is going to be absolutely delighted.
You know that, FG, always, of course, especially with that 4-1 win. And as we say, fourth now in the UCL group phase. Shaun and Steph alongside me. I want to now delve into the man that they picked up on there, not Donnarumma, although, Steph, those were some sliding tackles that I guess, you know, you'd have had no qualms putting them in, let me tell you. But Phil Foden, and I think Andy's right. I've loved watching Phil this season so far. Probably not got quite the recognition for what he's doing. He will because of his 2 goals, but his all-round play, as Andy says, has been second to none, and he's playing at an elite level at the moment, Shaun.
He really is, and I think we're all pleased for that. We're all pleased for him because, again, he's not been getting the attention that we all think he should be getting, but at the same time, he's probably happy with that. He's happy to just go under the radar, doing what he's doing. All Furry was saying that he has to be in the England squad, etc. But he's starting to really perform. Throughout the game, I'm saying, yeah, this is looking like Phil. Again, receiving balls in that pocket. It almost feels like there's no space, but he can receive a ball, receive it, turn, and find another pass. And I think probably for 9 out of 10 players, they'll receive a ball in there. They'd either just set it back because they can't turn, they don't have the awareness that they could turn, but he's able to receive that ball. And this is like his uniqueness and his quality, along with being able to finish on the outside of the box, to receive balls like that. And you know, from City's point of view, it gives us a great balance because we've got Ryan who can drive up the field and carry the ball. Foden can receive balls in the little pocket, and we see CHERKI in terms of what he can bring, quick little feet and things like that. But really pleased for Foden, really am.
And, you know, backing that up, some of the stats for his player of the match performance. I mean, I think he was given player of the match. If not, he's definitely was given it here in the studio. 2 goals, 3 key passes. All of his shots, 4 of them were on target. He had 71 touches, 46 passes, won 3 of his duels, 100% dribbles. And that was the other thing, Steph. There was a bit when Dortmund were on top, he was the one, I think Andy even pointed out, he ran 30, 40 yards to get back. Is that also just a part of how much he's in, I'm enjoying the wrong word, but his energy for the game and for his will and want to drive the team on and be where he needs them to be?
Without a doubt, I think Shaun kind of touched on it there. Sometimes I think we do focus too much on the goals and assists, and actually, as a midfielder, you need a bit of everything. Now he's found that position in that 10 position in behind HAALAND, that when you are like that and you have to have a lot of responsibility, the defending has to be part of your game. And I think he obviously wants the team to win, and that's what he does. He's fit. He was always one of the fittest boys in the academy when he was there, and he's taken that into the first team because you wouldn't be able to survive at the level and play the way that he does. But I think we all know how good he is with the ball. But I think for me, his all-round game this season, and I think for me, I'm glad that he's staying under the radar. I think it suits him, it suits the team, and I think when it comes to the big games, I think that's when he really thrives. And tonight he was exceptional, and his second goal was so good. There's not many players that can receive on the half turn, take a quick touch and get his shot away, and he just knows where the goal is. And I think he likes that kind of position in and around that 18-yard box. And now he's finding his form and he's finding his feet. Yeah,
it almost feels like carbon copies, but he's just so fluid with the ball, isn't he? And you know, when I guess, you know, coaches or anyone talk about that him being one of the most technically gifted footballers in the world, really. Yeah. Or is it those little things that we're talking about when they talk about that, Steph?
There's not many players that can take the ball in the half-term and move at the same time. Sometimes it becomes 2 movements, whereas he can make it 1. Yeah. And I think that's what's so special about him, that no matter how hard the ball's fizzed into him, his touch is ridiculous, but also that ability to actually face forward and slide HAALAND, make another pass out wide, but also now he's starting to get his shots away, and his finishing's got a lot better. I think sometimes he probably maybe have snatched at that a few years ago. Now he's placed them into the bottom corner and he's finding that. But that's what happens when you're a young player. You have to practice on the training pitch, and he's always the last one out there that's always practicing, and you reap the rewards of all that hard work.
You do indeed. That would kind of put us in the driving seat there. 3-0. It's feeling quite comfortable, Shaun. Then Dortmund made 4 changes, and that really did change the energy and the momentum of the half. Dortmund suddenly then were kind of more on top of us, which resulted in a goal which was well taken, hard to defend against, would you say? It
was, but I think when City review it was a free kick that it goes out wide, and I think it was, I'm quite sure, I think if I remember correctly, I think it was Foden and Doku, and Foden was saying to Doku, "Oh, you got him." And as that conversation was being held, Doku was just a little too far forward, and it just goes straight to him. So he goes down the line, rips it in. It's a great ball. Looks as though, could it have been offside? It was really close. Probably not the right decision. But I think it was that first part that City could have done better.
Yeah.
As in either Doku just being probably only 2 yards further back, and that goal doesn't happen, or the cross doesn't get in. He has to beat him. But in that regard, they're a decent team. It was a great ball in. It was a great finish. And, you know, Donnarumma's put himself there and made 1 or 2 saves, but that was just a really good finish. Great cross, a good finish.
Donnarumma did make a few saves. And Steph, as much as I know this isn't the Pep way, and I loved it when we had to do it against Arsenal, but actually seeing, you know, a respect for the team and a shift in that we are able to actually put in a gritty, solid defensive display. You think back to the Emirates, the same was done here. Pep's reaction to them being on top, and they were pushing for that second goal. I think there was 3 changes in Savinho, Doku and Reinders came off. Brought on Bernardo, CHERKI and I can't remember the third. Yeah, Marmouche. And then all of a sudden, as you pointed out, Shaun, it was a 5-4-1. Not what we're used to seeing, but I think you need that. And it was a good, gritty defensive performance then.
I like it. I think that's why, I mean, Pep Guardiola is the best manager in the world, and I think sometimes the best coaches can sense when there's a little shift in momentum, and sometimes at Champions League level, you can't really just change that momentum because there's good players that you're playing against. So I think it was really clever, and I think ultimately it's football and you want to win games and they want to qualify as quick as possible. So you're bringing on the likes of Ruben Diaz that can shore up the defence, but also that recognition and that actual respect, like you said, Cal, in terms of, OK, we respect what the opposition are doing. We've just got to kind of ride this bit out. And it worked because then we went up the other end and scored with CHERKI. So I think it's clever, and I think that's something that Pep's really adapted over the last few seasons. And there's no harm in it. I think we were speaking about it. We can have this style of play which is unbelievable. Nobody can match us in that style, but ultimately you want to be winning football games, and if that means to do that and go to a 5-4-1, then that's fine with us.
Yeah, it is indeed. And you mentioned him there, Shaun. Talk me through my man Ryan Cherki's goal. I mean, Andy Morrison kind of said it, but I mean, what a player and another beautifully taken goal. I mean, it looked effortless from him.
It does. I mean, Andy's right. He takes, 3 touches with his left foot. I think it's Guardiola who actually wins the tackle. He receives it, turns and drives forward, sees his space and drives forward. And when he drives forward, it just opens up for him on his right foot and strikes it in. And you just think, I watch him and I just think he looks as though he's not giving a lot of effort. But every time he gets the ball, I see these little pieces of, like, beautiful football, little bits of skill. And I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot more of him, you know, because I think there's a lot more to come from him. And he's affecting games in terms of scoring goals and assisting goals. And it's not, we know he's not really got into his heights. There's a lot more to come from him. But I'm really looking forward to seeing him do more of this because, again, he's already scoring goals. He's already setting up assists. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing more of him.
And he's just getting started. Just say he's cooking, baby.
Yeah, he's cooking,
baby. Let me then turn our attention to Sunday. As we know, Pep goes game by game. Well, that is game, job, set and match. 4-1, 4th in the UCL Group League phase. Up on your screens there, we then welcome Liverpool to the Etihad Stadium. That needs no introduction. It's actually going to be Pep's 1,000th game in charge, which I'm sure we'll be celebrating and do so much around. And what a luxury and privilege it has been for City fans to have that. But tough opposition coming to the Etihad. How are you feeling about it, Steph, and what are you thinking?
I think we're in the best position that we can be in. I think to win tonight and win at the weekend against Bournemouth was really positive, and I think last night you're seeing that Liverpool are starting to get back to probably the Liverpool that we knew of last season. So whenever it's Manchester City v Liverpool at the Etihad Stadium, it's always a great game. There's so many great players and it'll be really tough, but I think if we can get a big 3 points at the weekend, I think we can keep rolling that momentum after the international break and really kick on and put the pressure on Arsenal, who are leading at the moment. So I think there's so much football to play, but I think these games really matter. And I think if the boys can show a little bit of that performance tonight and take that into Sunday, we'll be in a really good position.
What were you thinking as far as squad-wise, Shaun? Did you see many changes from the team tonight, do you think?
I think Bernardo comes in.
Agreed.
Where he plays, Hey, I'm no Pep. There's a million of us out there, we're not Pep. I think Bernardo comes in because most times when we play Liverpool, it's about controlling the ball. And Bernardo is a player that you've got to have in your team because he helps you control the ball. When you control the ball, you control the game. So I think Bernardo will come in. Who else? If there's any other changes, I don't know. I couldn't sit here and say that right now, but I think Bernardo will definitely be somebody that comes in. I think what a game to look forward to. I mean, you got Liverpool's on really good form. We're hitting really good form in terms of being able to have a bit of adversity in this game here, but then be able to switch tactics and go towards the end and go, all right, well, let's just respect the opposition, and then we go in and score another goal. And I think it's going to be a mixture of the game like that, respecting the opposition, and whether it's saying, okay, we're going to have a mid-block and cope and deal with some adversity and some lumps and some bumps. But then when we've got the ball, boy, you're going to have to deal with a couple of jabs and hooks and swings from us. So I'm really looking forward to it because I think we're coming to really good form at the right time.
And it does feel, even if there may be a couple of others, we were trying to say, I think there's a chance maybe does Diaz come back into the team? There's the argument, do you maybe bring on a CHERKI now he's had a little bit of a rest and got a goal, and maybe, as you say, you leave Phil in the middle. A few changes, but as we know now, it seems everyone's found a little bit of form, and it will be more the tactical approach, I guess, will define what Pep goes for, Steph.
Yeah, definitely, because I think we know that Liverpool like to attack. They like them transitional moments, and they've been weak transitioning back into defence. So I think it's something that we can really exploit, I think, in terms of Haaland, giving him space. I think Liverpool will be really wary of that. But I think, yeah, I agree with Shaun in terms of Bernardo. I think he has to play. Whenever he plays against Liverpool, he always has a great game, and he's our captain, and we need him to be there and to show his experience. I think Diaz comes into it because he's been in great form. I think he's a leader at the back, and I think the only debate for me is whether it's going to be Reinders or CHERKI that start even that midfield, or Bernardo comes into their play, CHERKI plays off the right. But I think against Bournemouth we were so fluid and people just covered each other. We just filled spaces. But I'm just excited because I think these are the games, like, as a player, that you want to play in, and I think both teams are trying to close that points gap against Arsenal. We've put ourselves in a great position in terms of only being a few points behind. So a massive game, and I really can't wait to watch.
Neither can I, and I'll be with you for that on Sunday afternoon. We'll be building up to that just after 3 o'clock, so you know where to find us. Wherever you watch Matchday Live, make sure you come join myself as we build up to that 4:30 kickoff against Liverpool. Steph, Shaun, thank you so much as always. An absolute pleasure. Thank you to you all for watching wherever you are around the world. So we are fourth, and that is a 4-1 win against Borussia Dortmund. Onwards we go, and let's get ready to celebrate the genius that is Pep's 1,000th game in charge. And don't forget, guys, no one is as happy as this man right here. I mean, when you talk about selfie of the season, and if you've ever wondered what does a player look like mid-celebration, well, there it is in all its glory. One of our own, player of the match, and 2 goals from him tonight. Phil Foden was the man. I look forward to seeing you Sunday. What a picture. Good night.
The Manchester Derby is back this November at the Etihad Stadium. 2 teams fighting, but there can only be one winner. City v United. Play your part. Ring the noise. Get your tickets now.